everybody. Thanks for joining us. A few weeks ago, Minister Brenda Bailey came to me and told me that she had received an early cancer diagnosis. The good news is it was caught early, it's treatable, and her doctor said the prognosis is very good. However, Brenda will be taking 6 weeks for treatment starting at the end of August and expects to be complete treatment in October. Now, she has said much of what she has wanted to say about this, but she'll have a few more words today. But as she focuses on treatment, I know and I appreciate everybody respecting her privacy and her family's privacy during this time, and join me in wishing her well during what will be certainly a challenging moment. Now, unsurprisingly for Brenda, she's told me she wants to keep working, and that is entirely in character for her. And I'm certainly glad to hear it. Anyone who knows Brenda knows how deeply committed she is to the people of British Columbia and to her job in government. To make sure that Brenda has the support that she needs and to make sure that the work of government can continue without missing a beat, there will be some changes to our cabinet. First, Josie Osborne will be becoming the Minister of Finance. Ravi Kahlon will become Minister of Health. And Brenda Bailey will return to jobs and economic growth, a role that she held previously and knows exceptionally well. Minister Adrian Dix will be filling in for Brenda through her cancer treatment. Brenda's deep connections to the business community are going to assist her in this role and ensure we're poised for strong economic growth in very challenging times. Now, budget preparations are already underway. The deadlines and milestones for this are set out well in advance, and September is an intense month. The work needs to continue and keep moving, and that's exactly what will happen. This is a very heavy workload, obviously, to carry while you are also going through cancer treatment. Nobody should have to do that. And so Brenda will be going back to a file that she knows and can excel at with work she can pick up immediately once she's back. I am very pleased that Josie has agreed to take on the important challenge of being British Columbia's Finance Minister. She is one of the most experienced ministers around our table. She has held 4 different portfolios in government, including most recently in the Ministry of Health, where she led work on ensuring that British Columbia was recruiting more healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, health science professionals, to ensure that we can deliver the kind of healthcare we want, to the point that British Columbia now has more doctors per capita than any other province in the country. At the same time, she also reduced duplication and waste in the health authorities and will continue to do that work to make sure that resources can be directed to the front line. Minister Kahlon is taking over as Health Minister. Now, healthcare is obviously front and center for so many British Columbians, and needing our healthcare system to work at its peak and deliver in this time of intense demand from an aging population while controlling costs is a crucial role. It needs a minister who can get things done, and Ravi is absolutely that minister. As Minister for Jobs, he delivered the Look West strategy and the architecture for our province to be able to grow even in a challenging time and exceed projected growth rates and be among the top growing provinces in terms of economic growth as well as job creation, even while we face punishing tariffs on one of our biggest industries, the softwood lumber industry. I know he'll bring that same energy and focus to healthcare, and in particular, I'm interested in seeing what he does with innovation in healthcare. It's a crucial and important piece of the work, and I know he has a great interest in that. Finally, I'd like to say that this team here reflects the strength of our team in government. These are all experienced ministers, able to deliver for British Columbians, and committed to getting this work done. Brenda will be back with us in October, and in the meantime, she'll have the full support of our government as she goes through cancer treatment and recovery. And I'd like to invite Brenda to say a few words before I invite questions from the floor.
Thank you very much, Premier. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the many very kind people who've reached out to me since I've shared this diagnosis with kind words of encouragement, and also for the truly excellent care I've been receiving at the BC Cancer Agency. My prognosis is very good. I expect to be there on the day that we're back at the legislature in October, and I thank my colleagues for their support in finding what I think is really quite an elegant solution. I get to be back on a file that I'm deeply committed to and know very well, and I don't slow down the budget process in the meantime. So I thank the Premier for his flexibility and my colleagues for stepping in when needed. Thank you.
With that, happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Premier, and thank you everyone for joining us here today at the Vancouver Cabinet Office. We're going to take questions from the media now. All members of the media will have one question and one follow-up. If you have a question for one of the ministers up here, please direct it to them here, as they'll be in briefings after this and may not be available later. We're going to start here in the room with Catherine Urquhart from Global News.
Thank you. I'm just going to come around here. Hi, Premier. Yesterday, we heard the announcement out of Ottawa that Dwayne McDonald has been removed as commanding officer of the RCMP. How concerned are you about this?
Well, I know Mr. Brewer, who's stepping in for Mr. McDonald. He is a top-notch RCMP officer and will ensure seamless services for British Columbians. So from that perspective, I'm glad to know that the BC RCMP is in good hands. I don't know the particulars of the allegations, but I do know that the RCMP is engaging in a process to ensure that that this is properly investigated. And I look forward to any reports and information they may have to share with the public about that.
Considering the importance of this role, do you think there should be more transparency about what these allegations are all about?
I mean, I think that ultimately the public deserves to know why the head RCMP officer in British Columbia was removed. But I also know that it is crucial both for anyone who's bringing forward allegations as well as for Mr. McDonald that that's done properly. I have confidence that the RCMP will be bringing forward that information to the public and that they're engaged in a process to do that. And it is crucial that it's done properly.
Next, we're going to head to the phone lines with Katie DeRosa from CBC. Go ahead, Katie.
Hi, Premier. We're also hearing that, Premier Doug Ford expressed perhaps willingness to lift the booze ban if that helps the tariff negotiations. That is something that Donald Trump has said he wanted. Are you willing to lift that booze ban? Do you think it's the time to do that?
Well, I've been really clear about our position with respect to the ban on American alcohol, as well as our decision about procurement as a government and prioritizing other trading partners, as well as buying from British Columbians and Canadians first. Our softwood lumber industry is under direct attack. We face higher tariffs than Russia. The U.S., for some inexplicable reason, is putting forest families out of work here in order to prioritize lumber imports from Europe and Russia. That issue needs to be addressed. And it is our steel issue. It is our auto parts issue. The federal government is well aware that this is British Columbia's issue at the table. I had a meeting with the other premiers across Canada with major softwood sectors, New Brunswick, Quebec, and the Premier of Saskatchewan joined us as well. And everyone is on the same page. The softwood lumber sector is bigger than auto parts and steel combined in terms of the Canadian economy, and it needs to be front and center at the table. So our position is unchanged. We wish the federal government the best of luck at the table with this administration. We hope for resolution because it will lower prices for Americans and it will employ Canadians and Americans as a result. And ultimately, I think that, and I hope that is what everybody wants.
And Katie, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, how difficult is the job of the new Finance Minister, Josie Osborne, at a time when the province is inheriting a $13 billion deficit? The tobacco settlement is all used up. So how is this, again, going to be a budget of cuts? And similar to in the finance realm, we're hearing rumors, not confirmed yet, that Peter Millibar, the BC Conservative finance critic, might leave the BC Conservative caucus. Can you comment on that?
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear to me that if Peter Millibar can't be Brenda Bailey's critic, then he would rather just not be finance critic at all. If that is in fact the case, we'll see what Mr. Millibar has to share this afternoon. There's no question that the finances of the province are under pressure, just like provinces across Canada, just like the federal government's finances and the finances of countries around the world right now, including the United States, the United Kingdom, Europe. I could continue. This is a very hard time to be a finance minister, and that's why I'm very grateful for Josie stepping up. I'm proud of the results that Brenda delivered, bending the cost curve in government, delivering the projected cost savings in our budget, and ensuring economic growth at the same time that exceeded projections. These are big shoes for Josie to step into, but I have confidence that she'll be able to do that, and I'll invite Josie up to say a couple words.
Thanks. Thanks, Premier. Thanks for the question. First of all, I just want to acknowledge what a privilege and a responsibility it is to take on a file like this. And I really want to acknowledge Minister Bailey for the work that she's done and to say thank you to her and wish her the very best in what's ahead of her for her in the next few weeks. I've been reflecting as I have moved cabinet positions. This is my 5th portfolio that I've taken on, and I'm really grateful for that experience in different parts of our government that touch society and economy in different ways. Coming from health, the most complex, the biggest file in many senses, certainly in a financial sense, in the province, I have seen firsthand how the work that we do touches people's lives and makes a real impact and a real difference. At the same time, even being the former mayor of a small community, I know how hard British Columbians work for their money, and they expect us to manage it responsibly, to make sound decisions, disciplined decisions, careful decisions. That is the work that Minister Bailey has led us on and the work that I will continue to do. It's a job clearly that I take very, very seriously. Not only will we be continuing that path of looking at our expenditures, but also it's the job of growing our economy, a strong economy that supports strong public services, one in which we see increased private investment, one that we see major projects moving forward, that we're creating good jobs for British Columbians at the same time as delivering those public services that they depend on. So I'm excited to dig in. I get briefed up very quickly. I'm a fast learner. And I'll be digging into those files and those numbers in the coming hours, weeks, months, and doing the work with my cabinet colleagues and our Premier. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Next, we'll head to Wolfgang Deppner with the Canadian Press.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking my question. My first one might be a bit provocative, given the sensitive nature of the subject. Why, Premier? Why didn't you opt for a sort of a temporary settlement, so to speak, on the finance front? Why not have a temporary replacement and then allow Minister Bailey resume her old job when she comes back from treatment? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Wolf. The challenge with budget preparation work, and it might sound strange to people who haven't lived through it in government, September is really a very intense month of preparation for the budget and sets the course for the rest of the year. Now, Minister Bailey has a very good prognosis, and we're excited about her return in October. But it only gets more intense after September as well with the budget. And to my mind, it was unfair to have somebody else come in, set the course for the budget, and have Minister Bailey come in later and have to answer for that. We need continuity in the budget process throughout. I have every confidence that Josie will be able to deliver that. Brenda will be on Treasury Board and will be involved in decision-making process through to provide that continuity. But we also want to create the space around serious run of cancer treatment that Minister Bailey is going to go through and make sure that she has the space she needs to heal and recover.
Wolf, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I readily concede that the finance ministry is more important than the jobs ministry, but one could argue that the jobs ministry, given the current situation, is almost just as important. Why is a temporary settlement for the jobs ministry acceptable? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Brenda's going to be able to hit the job ministry hard right out of the gate. She is familiar with the file, has lots of connections in the business community. So on her return, she'll be able to hit the ground running. The response to the challenges of Trump and the slowing global economy have been shared across multiple ministries, but particularly led out of my office. And I'll say that Minister Kahlon and the Ministry of Jobs put together the Look West strategy, the blueprint for our path forward that is in full execution right now at every level. And it was that work that he did that inspired me to think that he could take on the big challenges that we face in health. And I might invite Minister Kahlon up to share a few words about his perspective on the health file.
Thanks so much, Premier. Certainly, getting away with my family for a couple of days and getting a call from the Premier was exciting for the family. But that being said, I think Minister Osborne has done a fantastic job of building a strong foundation on the changes that we need to see in our healthcare system. Because at the end of the day, it's about our loved ones, our neighbors, our friends, and their access to healthcare and ensuring that they get the timely, quality healthcare services they need. And so that's what drives us as a government. Certainly, it's going to drive me. And of course, on the Ministry of Jobs and the work, I can't think of anyone better than Minister Bailey. Not only does she know the file, she's driven the file, and we're going to work closely together on health innovation as well. I'm excited to take on that challenge because it's something that she and I have talked about for a long time. So looking forward to getting to work, and that work starts today. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Next, we'll head to Andrew Weichel with CTV News.
Hi, Premier Eby. Thanks for taking my question. The Mayor of Vancouver announced a plebiscite yesterday on using St. Paul's Hospital site for involuntary care. Is this something you'd consider if the yes side is successful?
Yeah, I'll admit, a little surprised to see the proposal for a vote question on which I suspect there would be 100% support, including from our government. The Mayor knows we've been looking for a site in Vancouver for this kind of care. We know that Vancouver requires it, especially with the intense epicenter of the downtown east side. It's something that Senator Campbell has been engaging the city on, and with our support. So certainly, I guess if he wants to go out and ask Vancouverites if they're supportive of something that we know they support and that our government supports, that's his prerogative. I might invite Minister Kahlon up to say a few words about his perspective on this.
Yeah, I'll just say that I've had a good working relationship with the mayor and council in Vancouver. And as the Premier's highlighted, we support the idea. We believe that we need this type of services in the community. I actually look forward to working with the mayor and the council, and if there's whoever comes in the new role, to make sure that happens. I was surprised to see that there's a plebiscite for something that is so unanimously agreed upon. And I think there are some probably tough questions that can be asked. And so if they do want to do a plebiscite, perhaps they should ask questions that are probably more meaningful and will actually help improve the lives of people in Vancouver. But on this question, there's no question. We can work together and get the outcomes that we both want.
Follow-up, Andrew?
Yes, thank you. So Sims also attacked your government repeatedly on involuntary care. Yesterday, he suggested if BC can't find healthcare staff to open 100 involuntary care beds within Vancouver, you should find another job. What's your response to that?
Well, it's municipal election season. I understand candidates are out there, and the mayor and I have had a close working relationship on a number of files. The city has been engaged on our response to the challenges in the downtown east side that Senator Campbell's leading, including on the issue of involuntary care. He's pushing on an open door. And so I invite him to walk through with us.
Next, we'll head to Alec Lazenby with the Vancouver Sun. Go ahead, Alec.
Hi, Premier. I just wanted to ask about the PST. The Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services recommended that the province back away from some of the PST expansions on professional services. Just wondering your response to that, and then maybe if Minister Osborne, I know she probably has yet to be briefed, but she has any response to that as well, that would be great.
Okay. The Finance Committee does important work. They travel across the province and share recommendations based on the feedback of British Columbians. We take it seriously. With respect to the PST changes, I want to note a couple of things. First of all, British Columbia has the narrowest base of PST of any province in Canada. We have the lowest income taxes for working people in any province in Canada. We got rid of the carbon tax, which was not just a tax cut for individuals, but also a tax cut for business. We do require revenue to run government, including to support significant policing initiatives that we launched in this recent budget. Our preference is that police are supported to do work like going after chronic property offenders, which our new CPOI program does. That they have resources to go after violent offenders with the changes that we advocated for and delivered at the federal level around bail. With respect to private security, it doesn't answer either of those questions. It entrenches the status quo. And so, no one's happy about taxes. We're not happy about taxes. That's why we've worked to reduce expenses for British Columbians everywhere we can, from the carbon tax, car insurance, hydro rates, and ensuring the lowest income taxes for working people earning less than $100,000 in any province in Canada. We're going to continue to find ways to reduce government expenditure and grow the economy to ensure that we're able to pay for public services. And we'll take all of the recommendations from the committee seriously. Josie.
Thanks, Alec. I'll add my thanks as well to the committee for the work that they do. They produced a very robust report. It's got 80 recommendations in it. It's over 100 pages long. I look forward to diving right into it and acknowledge the work that they did there. Just to add on to the Premier, to say that one of the most important things that I will be doing in the next days and weeks is listening, and that is listening to businesses, listening to workers, listening to economists, listening to communities, so that I understand more closely those needs, those the desires and preferences and wishes, and that I take that information in with the advice from a very, very capable set of financial experts, economists, accountants within the Ministry of Finance, working with my cabinet colleagues and addressing the very tension that this speaks to, which is the simple fact that taxes do pay for those public services that we depend on and British Columbians need to prosper, to live good lives. And it is my responsibility now as the new finance minister to take that job on with government, to be able to deliver those services. And again, to be able to look at growing the economy in a way where we can sustain those services, deliver what British Columbians need, and continue to see the progress on that. Thank you.
Follow up, Alec?
In terms of the deficit, I know the projections are for 13.3, and I know we're expected to get an update on that in the coming months. But just wondering what else is being done at this point to bring down those numbers. Obviously, it's 7.7 for this last fiscal year. That doesn't mean anything for the current year. And then with $4 billion of projects being a victim to slippage, that could also potentially increase costs. Like, what's being done to bring the deficit down from what could be a record amount?
Thanks, Alec. There's a couple key pieces of work that are happening right now. First of all, within core government, we've had a hiring freeze in place for an extended period now. I think we're probably going on a couple of years. We have reduced the number of people employed in core government through attrition, as well as through efficiencies found between ministries and reduction in positions. But core government is just one part of the provincial government. There's a whole array of other sectors outside of government that are reflected in the budget. And that work is underway as well. It involves health authorities. It involves the post-secondary sector. It involves the Crown corporations. And that work around ensuring that they are as efficient as possible in delivering services is underway and is part of the projections around cost reduction. We, as you have seen in the most recent budget results that Minister Bailey shared, have a history of delivering at below what we had projected. We want to try to continue that, especially given the enormous pressure on the provincial budget right now. So there's the efficiency side, the reduction in positions within government and outside government. That's one part. The other part is the real answer, because there's only one solution really to deliver the quality of public services that British Columbians expect at the tax levels we have in the province, and that's to grow the economy. Minister Kahlon's work, now Minister Bailey's work, all of government work around delivering major projects, private sector projects that are worth tens of billions of dollars to the BC economy and tens of billions to public service funding. The LNG Canada Phase 2 project, if delivered, will deliver on the order of about $28 billion in revenue to the provincial government over the life of the project. That's just one project. And so delivering these, people wonder, why are you working on these energy projects? Why are you working on these mining projects? Why is that the focus of government? Because it helps to pay for those public services. It puts money in the pocket of British Columbians to be able to deal with cost of living pressures that they face. And I am incredibly proud of the work that's been done across our government to deliver more of these major private sector projects than any other province in Canada. British Columbia sends money into the federal government that funds other provinces. It is my frustration that they take that money from us, that gets $13 billion, and then use it to try to recruit businesses from British Columbia. That's a side note. But we fund other provinces in Canada. Our taxpayers, our revenues fund other provinces in Canada, and we're proud of that. And we're going to continue to do that work, but also British Columbians have to be looked after. And that was part of our work with the federal government on ensuring that they're at the table with us, creating the conditions to deliver these projects so we can continue to support not just British Columbians, but all Canadians in this very challenging time.
Next, we'll head to Mark Page with the Black Press. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, thank you for taking my question. I just wanted to get some clarity on a couple of things. So this is a multi-part question. Just maybe if you could give us a little bit about the timeline here. Are these changes cabinet changes going to take effect immediately? And I wasn't quite clear on what Adrian Dix's role or roles might be going forward. It sounded like he might be taking on multiple files at the same time. And if that's the case, why not bring any backbenchers in and give them an opportunity at one of these files to not have multiple people or one person taking on multiple files? And if he is taking on multiple roles, does this show that you have a shrinking number of people in your caucus right now that you really trust?
Oh, no, not at all. That's an astonishing jump there at the end. We have a minister in a critical role, especially in the early fall, that has received a cancer diagnosis and is going into cancer treatment. The ask to both go through cancer treatment and then return to a project that the budget that's either been put on hold or where the work has started, and to assume it halfway at full speed after coming out of cancer treatment is just not, in my opinion, the right path. So to have this work done by Josie and for her to continue it on is important. The hope that we have here, based on what Brenda's been told, is that this will be a relatively short period of time away, that she'll be back in October. And so that informed my decision to ask Adrian to fill in temporarily on a file that he's familiar with through his work in the Ministry of Energy and Climate Solutions, to be able to fill in for her during the period that she's away. We have an incredible team. Every single one of our MLAs is exceptional. And they are all doing incredibly important work across the province. On a day when we are all anticipating yet another Conservative to flee, where 2 people elected as Conservatives have been criminally charged, where this latest Conservative fleeing is just one in a long line of fleeing Conservatives, where we've seen nothing but chaos, an obsession with US-style culture wars, endorsements of Trump. Like, it is chaos over there. And our team is solid. And so, to the point that we actually attracted someone to cross the floor to join our team to get away from the chaos that was going on in the Conservative Party. So I'll say with respect, if you are interested in a lack of trust and chaos and in problems and defections, you're maybe looking at the wrong side of the legislature.
Mark, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, so I'm still looking for a little clarity here on Adrian Dix's role and what the moving pieces are here. It sounds like, I thought it sounded like Health Minister Josie Osborne was moving to take over at Finance, but then what is Dix's role right now?
Thanks, I got lost in your suggestion that our, just on today of all days, that our team is not united. The new appointments take effect immediately. I've signed the OICs. These are the new ministers responsible for those files. On the day that Brenda leaves to begin her treatment, Minister Dix will step in. And on the day she returns from her treatment, Minister Dix will step back to maintaining his existing role. He will hold both roles during the period of Brenda's cancer treatment until she returns.
Next, we'll head to Ben O'Hara-Byrne with Global BC.
First, my best to Minister Bailey in her recovery. Hope it all goes well. I know it's a scary prognosis. Quickly on wildfires, Premier, what exactly have you asked the federal government for, and what is it that you are expecting they could offer? I realize we spoke to Minister Parmar yesterday, who said we hadn't asked for anything beyond accommodation, which has been provided. You don't need it now. But is there anything else you'd be looking for from Ottawa, and what are they offering you at this point in time?
Well, what we've been offered from Ottawa is unconditional support with the state of emergency that we're in provincially. I want to say there is a huge amount of work that is happening in the province from the Wildfire Service, from incredible volunteers, and anxiety, especially in people in the Summerland area, Falder, that want to know if their houses have burned down or not. The first request we had to the federal government was for accommodation, not knowing how quickly the fire would spread, how many spaces we would need, how many we'd be able to make available. They came forward with, for example, they had a military barracks used for cadets that we thought we might have to lean on them for. And fortunately, we haven't had to. Hotel space opened up, and we were able to do some block bookings. We have enough accommodation for people. The requests of the federal government are really currently in the spirit of the emergency moment, making sure that our wildland firefighters, that they have all the resources they need, and if they feel that the military could provide support to them, that the federal government is ready to go to assist us. That the accommodation work continues in the event that we have, and we do expect another significant fire yet this fire season, that we're ready to go and we have places for people to go. All of that work will continue, and we're grateful to the federal government for that. In terms of the financial side of things and support for businesses and support for people and communities, Summerland's water supply almost certainly has taken a significant hit. There's infrastructure implications of a fire of this scale. We'll be sitting down with those local leaders to understand the scale of what we need support on, and then working together with the federal government to find ways that we can support that as senior governments to respond for people in their moment of need. It's just at this point, while we're still in the middle of the emergency, our conversations with the federal government are about those emergency logistics right now.
We have time for one more question, and we're going to head to Jared Yeager with Sitka Media.
Hi, Premier. So if Peter Millibar is to leave caucus, would you encourage him to join your team? And are there any other Conservative MLAs that you have your eye on?
Yeah, I don't expect to be receiving a phone call from Mr. Millibar if he leaves caucus. Mr. Millibar ran for government with a leader that was a climate change denier and who thought that Bonnie Henry should be tried for war crimes. I don't believe that our perspectives align. With that said, anything is possible. I think, though, the message, if he does leave, for British Columbians is pretty clear. If even Peter Millibar can't vote with the Conservatives, then British Columbians shouldn't vote for them.
Just a quick follow-up. So the BC Conservatives, they've suggested that 24 million hectares of land is going to be transferred to First Nations. Your government has refuted that number. Could you give us any specifics, maybe a low end, a high end?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe this is why Peter Millibar is leaving their caucus, but there's kind of misinformation from the Conservatives. It undermines their credibility as well as the credibility of everyone who stands with them. They have used a list of land transfers that's in the budget. This includes things like land transfers that were negotiated in 2014 under the then BC Liberals, BC Conservatives, actually under John Rustad, like Babine. They've suggested that they didn't know about these. I mean, how did they not know about them given that their former leader was directly involved? In addition, they've said that with the Tahltan, we're negotiating title over 13% of British Columbia. We are not doing that. We're talking about land use planning with the Tahltan First Nation and how to work with them to share the prosperity of that remarkable region of the province, to ensure that people aren't living in poverty beside a literal gold mine, that they can have a pharmacy and they can have a community center and they can have a road that is safe for their community. This is basic stuff, and the Conservatives have decided to attack this, despite the fact that we have delivered not one but two joint environmental assessment decisions approving billions of dollars in new mining projects in this region, creating jobs for British Columbians and tax revenues to pay for public services. You know, I welcome debate on what the issues are, but what I find incredibly problematic is just flat out misinformation to the public on a crucial issue that ensures that our province is able to move forward. And this obsession that Conservatives have with culture wars, they want to call First Nations people Indians, they want to repeal the Human Rights Code. This is what their leader campaigned on. Like, that is not going to advance our province. That is not going to deliver jobs. That is not going to pay for public services. And I just really regret that this is the direction that they would like to take the province.
That concludes today's event. Thank you everyone for joining us today.